getting things in position. Because it's stream time, boys and girls and everyone else in between. What is going on? It is your boy, izlogic33, back at it once again. Today, we're going into Gen G versus BLG. A big matchup, to say the least. It's got fight night feelings. And we watched this game at MSI. Gen G crumbled to BLG, getting absolutely dismantled to pieces by BLG. Now here, we've got a full 5-game series on our hands between these two teams yet again. And hopefully, I kind of want Gen G to win this, even though I've said this series should be very, very close on paper. Let's get into game number 1 for this one, because it's a big old, and I do mean a big old, best of 5 to go through. And hopefully, this is a huge hopefully, we get a massive series. So, I, believe it or not, have already watched the full best of 5 on my own. And let me just go. Oh god. My dogs may just start randomly barking. Like now. Let me just shut them up. They'll start barking when my mom returns home. But apologies for when that happens. So, today, we've got Gen G and BLG Game 1, Draft number 1. We've seen a lot of different priorities from these two teams, but they're still big presence champs, like the Jarvan for Shun, like the Jax for Bin. Basically, it's on BLG's side. They have big preface champions. Now, into draft for game number 1. We're going to see the Nico, Renekton, and Rakan already removed from the pool. This is actually quite a lot of big OPs being left open if you think about it, as Gen G kind of forcing a weird issue with the fact that Jax will be left up. You've got Renata that will probably be left up. Jarvan, Rumble, Ori, Azir. You can't ban all of them. And with the Xayah and Rakan both be removed out of the pool, there's a lot of OPs left ready and available for either team. It intrigues me the fact that both of the Lovers duo get banned. Xayah is probably the more likely of the two to get banned, but the fact that both are gone from the pool makes this a little bit more interesting, because as we've come to know and love about League, these two teams have been very, very explosive when it gets to team fighting. And the fact that we were saying that Jax probably would be left open in the pool, it's kind of ironic that Gen G first pick it away from BLG. Now, options left up and available for BLG: Jarvan, probably the biggest. Ori, get the wombo combo of dreams. But they're prefacing that Renata, and that's kind of to fill the boots of the Maokai. I've played a bit of Renata recently on live, and she is just a devil to play against, because of the fact that she can just disengage a fight on a flip of a switch with that ultimate. It forces enemies into an awkward situation where they can't exactly team fight into you, and you peel heavily for your team. Now, I do really like this Kalista pick, and with the fact Sylas is banned, I just realized you can't steal away the Renata ult. So typically you would have probably have seen Chovy go towards a Sylas in this situation, but he's probably going to end up on this Azir. Ori is the other option. That will probably be traded between the two mid laners. So Chovy gets his preference of the two. Azir comes through. This is now where we start to think junglers will be locked in on either side. Genji, I don't know what you would go for here. Vi, Wukong, Jarvan, them sort of options are ready and available. But they're prefacing their ADC, get the Aphelios locked in. So here, BLG can kind of go for their mid lane, it looks like. And then junglers are being sacrificed to phase 2. And the only major difference is it's top locked in for Genji, whereas support is locked in for BLG. If this is how the draft turns out. And it will do with the Orianna locked in. So, second rotation of bans, probably will see top bans coming out from Genji. And junglers from BLG, both jungler pools may get squeezed even more. Because that pool is certainly quite shallow in terms of good picks right now. But like Vi, Jarvan, Lee Sin, Viego, if you want to go a bit more carry orientated in that role, are ready. Genji banning out the Rumble, that's a double pronged sort of ban because that does lower the prio on Jarvan, as you don't get the cooking pit that you would do with the Cataclysm and Equalizer combination and the Flame Spitter. But hey, that's not going to be a big issue. BLG going to remove the Sedge. They've removed 2 big bulky frontliners away from Genji. And honestly, you look at the Genji draft so far, very squishy. Similar story on the BLG side, but you have to feel they'll bulk it up with their jungle top picks. But here, these picks and bans really are what I would call very, very squishy. Now, the last ban out from Genji is the Cassante, so no solid top lane pick into the Jax. Honestly, there isn't too many good options left up and available other than to say maybe Nah into Jax right now. I think Nah just would provide the sort of wombo combo engage with the Ori and the Jarvan together. I think that would make sense for Bin to play here over anything else. As the other side, it's TK and Rel to round out the draft, but we're getting an Aatrox. Does surprise me a little bit, more so than a the reason it surprises me is I would honestly have thought you go for Nah, you play the range matchup, it gives you a bit more survivability against the Azir as well when it gets to late game in terms of split pushing, because you can play with range. You're not forced up into the wave to get a counter push. So as a whole, you could kind of match up to the Azir pretty easily. You can also jump away as he shuffles towards you. So as a whole, I would have maybe preferred that over the Aatrox. However, Aatrox coming in just signifies they want to go heavy fighting, late game, scaled up fights on BLG's side, where Bin is able to carry into the late game. And through the late game, I should say, over into. Because more than likely, they'll get the bot lane rolling. That's the early game side of the map for BLG that they realistically should be playing through. Especially considering it's TK Aphelios, you kind of want to punish them before they hit level 6. And the reason is you just don't want to be having to deal with the safety TK provides. That Devour will provide a massive shield that would turn around the fight if it's used late, shall we say, in the fight. And it will keep Aphelios in a good position to sustain and probably heal back up to quite a high amount of HP with his Severum if he's got that red gun. But on to the Rift for game number 1. And the standard fan out from Genji as BLG kind of are forced to match it. No deep wards just yet. Ori gonna use the orb to check the brush. Paze takes a little chunk, but he's okay. He'll have that health back once he ticks over to... Well, no, once he ticks over to about a minute 30 when the minion wave hits the middle of the lane. Now, a nice ward there from both teams. Obviously, BLG get the ward onto the red buff, whereas Genji had that control, well, their ward to control entry, so they knew that BLG had done this. On an Elk, hiding out here, gonna get a decent chunk of damage down onto Delight. TK early has better sort of sustain compared to the Renata, because you can use the Tongue Lash to top your health bar up. As a hold, that's actually pretty nice for Peanut, getting the ward cleared out, so he should be in a decent position. He can do some crazy now plays through his mid lane, his bot lane, without necessarily being spotted, but obviously the fact that he's killed the ward gives over to BLG no advantage of knowing how long it's taken him to kill the camp. That's one thing that provides. As we get into a brief look at the items, stock standard Dorans across the board. No specialized culls or anything. You do have minion D-mats on this TK, but they won't be as impactful as you think, because Peanut gonna get flagged and dragged up on, gonna force the crash down out. And so that's a big bit of time invested here by Shun, spotting out the Rel in her own jungle, and surprisingly, the Jarvan was able to go make that roam play and be pretty even in terms of the clear speed. That's not something you realistically expect, considering they both had an unimpeded clear. Now, it's huge for Gen G that this early game goes well. You have to feel we may see some investment into that top lane matchup by these junglers, as Bin and Doran, once they get a little bit of support from their team, tend to just pop off in the isolated 1v1 from that point onwards. As Shun is maybe going to make that early play that we were talking about in the bot lane. The flag and drag is readily available as Renata takes the tower. That's going to be an amazing flash out from the Jarvan to secure first blood. But On will fall in return. It's a 1-for-1 trade as topside not going to result in a kill. It's unfortunate the kill doesn't go over to Welk, whereas the kill went to Paze for Gen G. However, BLG get the extra gold with first blood. Now Peanut obviously trying to make it a bit worse for BLG, going to steal away camps here, but this gank, it was known for about minute 1, and that just flash follow gets the cleanse, gets the flash, and gets the kill. Simple as that. It was clean as could be. The Jarvan on a roll, and that is kind of something we have to point out with Shun. He hasn't, I wouldn't say had the best series or season in terms of performance. He is not the main star of this BLG roster. However, picks like Jarvan, he seems to do extremely well on, and he's able to carry his team when he needs to most. He sets them up nicely. So in this game, we kind of don't expect him to be the main carry. However, early kills certainly benefit him going towards this Gore Drinker. Getting the early sustain items in allows him to be the front line, to kind of get on top of Paze. Because to be honest, you look at Genji's squad, realistically speaking, the bot lane has very low peel and low forms of mobility that if a Jarvan knocks up into the air to TK or the Aphelios, you're either A, getting TK ult out of The light is bot side. That's going to be the Rel wrap around. They've caught out on, and the Renata passive will not bail him out. That's the trade kill back over to Genji's top side. It's going to be a bit of a trade as Bin forces the ult out. It's both top laners forcing their ults, but no kill going to happen as Doran retreats back to the safety of his tower. Bot side, turret plate secured by Genji. That gold starting to fall in their favor. And as a whole, I'm getting cold. that's the answer that you want to hear. As Jax forced to counter strike early, but Shun just heals up with the honey fruit. Isn't gonna take any damage at all. And BLG forcing plays possibly topside. Rel, Hex flashes over. Bin respects it. Flashes away, but it is too late. He gets killed. And now Doran gets control of the top side. Genji getting on a roll early. This is what you like to see. Form a snowball. Form plays that get them ahead. We need to realistically think of this as we need to beat the scaling of BLG. Because Aatrox will scale very, very well. Kalista scales quite nicely, but the Renata is the problem piece for Genji to deal with. The fact that she can provide a form of extra life, a revive, and kind of keep Aatrox in a position where he can keep chasing you down, keep moving forward. The extra move speed that Bailout provides is huge. And so, Genji, as a shockwave, gonna land onto Chovy, gets chunked out. Yagao trying to force the wave into the tower. He had, obviously, Shun behind him, shadowing. But Peanut has managed to wrap around. Hex flashes over the wall, and the play could come through as the Magnet Storm forces the Fate's Call out from Elk. No big engage option on BLG's side now for a few minutes in that bot lane. You're gonna have to honestly have Shun come down and force a play. And that's kind of something we've seen a bit of a difference here between these two junglers. The Rel happily looking for plays on either side of the rift, but Shun's been more impactful with his. He's got First Blood. He's now forcing Doran off the wave, and this is allowing massive amounts of gold to be secured by Bin. He's got himself a turret plate, denied a full wave to that tower, and now another wave gets crashed in. Chovy started to roam up, but he realizes if he's doing that, Yagao will get his own push outright. He knows that he needs to stay here as Emperor's Divide gets the flash out from the Orianna. Yagao is susceptible now to a gank, but Peanut isn't going to be able to make one as the Scuttle speeds up. Shun looking for the flag and drag. He gets it. The Cataclysm gets the Devour out early, but the hostile takeover forces Genji into an awkward situation. The cleanse out from the Aphelios is enough to get him to safety, but Peanut is the actual target. A big kill for BLG as Jun gets himself another. As it stands, the 700 gold lead, the Herald in his back pocket. Shun's having a good early game, and this is certainly very, very nicely done by BLG. Force Genji into the choke, they clump up together, flag and drag onto the Aphelios, into the Cataclysm. They're trapped, so the Renata ult is forcing so much damage down. It's a great play as that handshake catches Peanut as he tries to enter the brush, and he just falls for it. Now, Shun gets himself some turret plates. Yagao not in range to get any, I believe. And so this Jarvan getting more and more gold into his back pocket. It isn't necessarily the big damage threat you expect for BLG, as his Kalista and the Ori typically are where the damage will be. But the fact that literally Elk has 2 assists to his name, kind of surprising. And I'm gonna be honest, it's been a lot more impactful the ganks out from Jun. He's able to pick up 2 kills for the team, whereas the ganks from Peanut have been fairly lackluster. It's forced abilities, but not kills. And that is something we have to think. He's got 1 successful gank this game. The one thing that I have to point out about this BLG squad is they're very, very slippery and hard to lock down. The only place where I think a gank is going to be fairly successful is the mid lane. Orianna, very low mobility in terms of kit. But like, yes, she does have the shockwave to kind of peel herself out. But the Azir should be able to get a nice big ultimate. The Emperor's Divide already has blown Yagao's flash once. So they didn't punish that timer. Or were unable to. Which is disappointing, as Doran, Grandmaster's Might, comes out as the World Ender is popped. And once again, a top laner forced to flash in the 1v1 skirmish. This is not good if you're Gen G. There's a potential dive could come through here. I'm looking at the rest of the lanes, and there's no one from either team coming up to this top side. We could see an outright 2v2 brawl. But bot side, the actual 2v2 brawl is happening. The Fate's Call forces the Devour, and Delight takes massive amounts of damage. The Chakram stacks being built up by Pays, and that forces BLG to disengage. As it stands, the gold sits on a nice edge. You feel one misplay, one fight will swing the gold in your favor for probably a long, long time, probably even the entire game, if we're going to be honest. It's bot side, they want to fight. The big issue for BLG is the Aphelios can't do anything, as a good Emperor's fight actually will tag Yagao. The crash down stuns him in place, and that's just going to be an easy kill over to Chovy. And this is something we wanted as topside. The Cataclysm and Q combo from the Aatrox shuts Doran down once again. Shun's ganks finding impact on the Rift, as Elk could possibly get dove here. Has to retreat back even closer to his tower. And Gen G not going to overinvest. Maybe going to overinvest. Don't know. But with Peanut jumping over the wall, that investment going to be denied. And look at that turret blood. 7 plates over. Most of them in the top side of the map for BLG. As Gen G managed to secure 3, they're probably on the bot side tower as we get to watch this top kill, I believe, again. But yeah, this is great trading out from Bin. Sure, he's losing out in health trade, but he has got the Gore Drinker quicker. He's got the extra sustain, and that just bringing the Cataclysm down onto him gets Shun another kill. You're gonna have to start thinking maybe it'd be more beneficial if the kills went over to the solo laners or the ADC, but it's fine. Look at the lane economy graph by Mastercard. It's showcasing the fact that essentially Shun is giving a massive advantage to Bin. The bot side is surprising because Pays has been punished quite a bit by BLG. But the fact that the gold sits in favor of the Gen G bot lane is a bit of an issue, especially considering the fact that they are the hard scaling side of Gen G, as a possible fight is brewing as the crashdown gets denied. A great hostile takeover gives Elk chance to rain hellfire onto Peanut. That's the first kill of the fight secured by BLG, as that's Bin. He's on the chase. He's already got himself a kill, and that's going to be the bailout put directly on top of him. Chovy forced the flash, and so is Delight. A lot of summoners burnt out of that fight on Gen G's side of the rift, and Herald is the prize as, oh, good flash out from Elk to get to safety. Chovy gonna force the play. He also invests his flash. We watch this fight again. Bin gets a nice flank position. He denies the four members of Gen G easy access into the Herald pit. Then when they clump up in the choke point, the Renata ultimate does its job, and Gen G forced to scurry away. Herald was secured by BLG, and now here, the fact that the bailout is on Bin, it allows him to continue the chase and continue pressing forward. Gen G can't do anything when Bin is playing in an aggressive state with Renata behind him. There's not much you can do. You're forced to retreat to safety, and that's going to result in objectives going over to BLG. Soul point secured. One more Drake away from Ocean Soul are the LPL representatives, who, let's be honest, have looked very good this game. It's a close one, to say the least, as bot side of the rift is where we are seeing the advantage for Gen G. Chovy as well in an advantageous state, especially when he's killing off towers. I'm surprised Yagawa's clawed back that gold a little bit in terms of where he was at before. It looked like it was a very comfortable position for Chovy to be in, but now slightly is the Azir ahead, only slightly. But everyone knows that this game is not done until the Nexus falls, as Shin just walks up, Smite steals away the grump, and denies so much away from Peanut, who, let's be honest, hasn't really found that much impact with this rel pick yet. It's been fairly stagnant, sitting 0, 2, and 3. He's behind 21 CS. That is a huge number as well. And that's kind of the impact that Jarvan has now. Got very low cooldowns on the Q&E, so he's able to get between camps extremely quickly. He's also got very strong abilities in terms of his kit, and as such, it's honestly a lot more impactful than what rel has been this year. Now, Radiant Virtue secured for the rel. Bit surprising. I think we don't typically see that anymore. Well, we do see it quite a bit, but it's a bit weird seeing it on a rel to me. Don't know why. I honestly have thought it may be an Evershroud, even though I think that's falling out of meta. But that's what I'm more used to, as that gold graph. Wow. Elk has taken the lead in terms of gold this game. On the bottom side, and that's kind of surprising because he's got a very low comparative amount of kills to Pays, who, let's be honest, was the benefactor for Gen G's early play to the bot side. And while sure BLG are in a very strong state, the gold that they've gained hasn't put them out of reach just yet. It's not an insanely scaled snowball formed by BLG just yet. Sure, the win probability graph kind of says that it is, but it isn't. Gen G could find such a big fight. The fact that they've got great backline access should be a thing to be wary of if you are BLG. And that Kalista, if caught by an Emperor's Divide, the Crashdown, the Magnet Storm, chances are she will fall. The Cleanse can only do so much. The Hostile Takeover is what's keeping the Kalista alive. I think that's the important thing. And Gen G, they should honestly know that and focus on in this next fight. Now, the reason why the Hostile Takeover is the thing that's keeping Elk alive is because it just provides so much peel. The fact that anyone who gets on top of you are forced to run at a teammate and start hitting them, because chances are teams will play quite spread out. But as a whole, it's a very, very strong ability that doesn't get that much respect, to be honest, in terms of the amount of play it gets, as a fight is brewing 10 seconds until the Ocean Drake spawns. Soul on the table for BLG. Mid lane tower fallen on Gen G's side. Chovy going to put up the sand tower there to kind of act as the new mid tower. But pays and is not going with Elk to match Elk, as that's going to be the Drake started by this Kalista getting taken down. What is that Magnet Storm? It absolutely is whiffed, and Gen G know they have to give up Soul. BLG, pick up that prize. Sure, you get the objective bounty, but BLG, they've got Soul, the extra power. They can look for the fight. Renato still is a factor. You have to be considerate about. It only tags onto the rail, but the Cataclysm, it finds its mark. The Shockwave kills off Doran, and the TK falls. No more safety for Gen G as they're forced to retreat back to their base. And Baron will go over to BLG. That is honestly a well-executed fight there by BLG. They waited out Gen G's tools, their abilities, as they tried to go in. But then, once they see the group up, the two-man Cataclysm just secures the kills. This is just waiting. It's a patient game to queue out from Rel, who has no basic abilities to get in. And then it's just waiting. He sees the group up of the Azir and the TK. Sure, the TK can devour the Azir to provide safety, get a shield, but he's still gonna fall. And Doran on the side, he's executed off by the Shockwave. It's honestly a well-played fight by Shunt. That's the guy you should be wary of on this BLG side. And I've underrated him all year. This series, this game, he has popped off. 4-0-3. He's unkilled. And he's just looking like he's not going to fall. He seems too strong. The fact that BLG just taking so much ground. Yes, they've got Baron. But the fact that they're able to use the Jarvan's kit to get so much control of this bottom side of the map. It means that Gen G playing with a fog of darkness. Look how shallow that vision is. And they're having to respect that they could possibly fall prey to a tower dive. Pays, Delight, and Peanut all having to play next to one another. And here comes the Jarvan that can provide that tower dive. Will we see it come to fruition? Blue Trinket dropped back to complete darkness for Gen G. They do have a deep ward ready there for a TP flank. Will they take it? You've got to feel they'll look to force a fight soon enough. The handshake pulls Peanut back towards Elk, ready to open fire. He's going towards, I presume, his Hurricane here for his third item. The Ravenue's high. Yeah. The Hurricane, the Runed's Hurricane. Probably one of the most impactful items, I think, in a Kalista's build. Even though it doesn't provide single target damage, I personally love it because of the amount of spears it can provide, as Yagao just whiffed his ultimate there. We don't really need to discuss it because it's on quite a... I would have said it was on quite a quick cooldown, but it's still got quite a bit to go. Probably about a minute or two on that one before it comes back up. As bot side, the hostile takeover, it tags Delight and Chovy, already down a quarter of their HP bars. It's forced them off the tower a little bit, but this cannon minion doing work, chunking the tower. Now, Gen G, with the Baron falling, can play a bit more aggressive. They don't need to realistically play on the back foot. However, the fact that this tower in the mid lane incredibly low, they need to start to look to force. They're gonna be at a state where there's just constant pressure applied to them. Level 16 for Bin, highest level in the game, and he's able to just split push isolated away from his team, knowing full well he will not be bursted out by Gen G. Now, surprisingly, all 5 members of BLG group up. It does allow them to secure this tier 2 on the bot side. Get some nice bit of profit, and look at Bin's inventory. He's going back with 2k gold. He's going to definitely pick up that GA. There you go. Hurricane also secured for Elk. This Callista probably at her strongest point before she starts to fall off as a champion. I think the fact you can get so many spears into opponent with this Hurricane and Rage Blade combination, chances are Gen G, if they don't kill Elk, the game's over. The issue for them is they then have to kill Bin twice. They have to get through this Jarvan, who is very sustainable. He's gone for the second item, Spear of Sojourn, so his CDR is stupidly low, so he's going to be constantly flagging, dragging through the fight. That gold graph on the side of your screens clearly indicates a lot of power as Peanut possibly caught out. Crashdown comes through just to provide a bit of shielding. But BLG are chasing. They see the Rel. She's forced to remount, but the engage comes through. The Cataclysm gets onto the light, forces his flash out. The Book procced on Elk. He is going to have to back away now. Gen G, they get some decent abilities out from BLG, but they're still not able to get anywhere near this pit. The Elder Drake is the prize. The Shockwave lands onto Chovy below half HP. Gen G walking through the hostile takeover. It finds Chovy, and that's Bin getting the double. Elder Drake secured. Jarvan secures a kill. Ori secures a kill. This game is over. Doran cuts the wave. Gonna get some damage down onto this tier 2. Sure, he gets the objective bounty, but Elder is on BLG. They're on the victory march. Doran gets slain, and Bin happy to take that one. This game is over. BLG outscaled, outperformed, hit Soul, and destroyed Gen G in the opening game. This is looking like a repeat of MSI, as Gen G will die in Busan with an absolute stomp of a game. But it may not be over. Magnet Storm is not going to find its mark. 2 kills back over. The ADC down. The base in tatters. BLG take game 1 in convincing fashion. Let's be honest, game 1, it got interesting. It was close early, we have to say that, but Peanut kind of ran out of steam, to be honest. I think that's the important thing. The Rel could have forced more plays, could have actually have set up the team to carry. Chovy burnt the Yagao's flash early on. No gank came mid when that potential play could happen. It came later after the flash came back up, but like, you got the kill then. Why didn't you do it earlier and punish? Get the Azir to a state where he's able to carry. Sure, Kalista would have been a massive threat. The Jarvan was an amazing, immense threat due to the fact he had so many kills. But you still think if the Azir is ahead, the scaling is still in your favor. The Aphelios from ahead, he was ahead for long portions of the game. But then, when the kill went over to Elk and gave some, like, gold into his back pocket, he took the lead. It was still close. But, honestly, it felt like a throw more than anything out from Peanut. As that Rel didn't really find its mark. The team fighting out from them, they honestly didn't get a good Magnet Storm. They whiffed one completely. Sure, BLG whiffed a Shockwave once, but it wasn't as impactful in terms of the circumstance. It was Soul for BLG. And they got it because they had no engage. Genji had no ulti on the Rel, no chance of winning the fight, and game 1 goes convincingly over to BLG after an easy sort of game. Now, I'm going to do a double, and I do mean double, GOL, as we're doing games 4 and 5 to cover this entire series. Genji BLG, I believe that was game 1. That was game 3. Thank goodness I'm missing out that game. But game 2, let's look at it. 28 minutes. It was a stomp. That's the easy way to word it. Milio found no effect with this Aphelios. It was a straight snowball. No gold lead this entire game for Genji. And you look at the comp. Rumble Jarvan. The literal furnace comp shouldn't continue to pop off. But Elk, he got ahead early and just punished Peanut and Doran. It's unfortunate to say, but they really had no impact this game. As, yeah, bot side, all the plates fell. All the top plates fell. Game was well and truly over. Look at the damage graphs. Jungle, support, ADC. All high damage. And that's, you have to realize, is Renata stealing away the damage of the enemy team. It's a huge, painful champion to be playing into. And while, yeah, you have the Maokai, the Renata is so much better in terms of having a wave ultimate. The Maokai one roots you, sure, it allows for easy chase down. Renata just dismantles the enemy team. If their carry gets caught in it, then chances are you're taking mass amounts of damage from them. And honestly, that damage distribution graph, the fact that this jungle, well, top side, I think we need to point out the fact that this support, this Renata, did more damage than an Aatrox. Like, that is insanity. That really tells you how bad of a game this was from Genji. Considering the fact that I think throughout the entire Worlds this year, I've been very praising of Doran. I think he's played very well. This series honestly shines the kind of bad side of Genji. Their failures in knockout stage games, they don't seem to do well at them. I think when you watch the live broadcast, there was a lot of talk about this Genji squad never succeeding internationally. they do well regionally, but then fall off when it comes to the international stage. It's like 4 consecutive international tournaments in a row where they've been, regional champions, and they've just failed to succeed on the big stage. And here, it's just poor. The fact that you've got a Maokai who's going to have constant damage. He actually went tank Maokai. No demonic embrace in that build. Bit weird. I would have honestly preferred demonic embrace over adaptive foam. I get it because you want to set up Chovy to carry, but Chovy didn't even get his mythic. He went 2 items, Void Staff, Nashers. It's a bit of a bad build, I would say. It's not as impactful, to be honest. I mean, bot side, that's a 1, 2, 3 item versus 2. There was just mass item difference across the board at the end of the game. And power spike for Azaya is literally 3 items, so she was happy, content to just carry the game with 7 kills. Oh god. To be honest, this game was a GG go next, do or die situation sort of thing for Gen G, where I think when they fell behind early, they thought, we're going to go to game 3 and have to bring it in that one, which is fair enough. But yeah, game 3. Also, I should also point out, Soul once again secured by BLG. Shun putting heavy preface on objectives. And I didn't even realize that he secured everything in that game. Jeez. BLG dominance. Game 3. We will be doing game 4 and 5 as the full VOD. But like, game 3, I see Soul on Gen G and a win for Gen G. Kind of a running trend, isn't it? Every team that's got Soul so far has won. Maybe that's a sign, and this game kills incredibly close. Gold, not so much. This is looking like literally game 2's graph, but on Gen G on blue, BLG on red. Yeah, pretty much the same, other than that kill was on there. That's a bit flipped. Yeah, just flip them around. Anyway, Jun, another game unkilled. I'm intrigued. Has he died in game 2, right? He did not. Game 1, I think he gave away a kill. He did. He dove the literal fountain and gave over a kill. So, while technically he's died, what we're going to say is Shun's Jarvan really should have been banned. The fact that he's gone 3 games, 1 death is a bit of an issue if you are a Gen G. Because this Jarvan, he hit his item points. He hit the GA, and once he has that, he is unkillable. Simple as that. Shun just played well throughout the entire series. But Gen G, this is their first win of the series. Their kind of fight back. Late game, when you have GAs online, you're unkillable. Unless you're an ADC. Which, to be honest, Pays did well. This game, he looked good. I'll have to say it. He uses Killer Instinct effectively, unlike some of the other Kaisers we've seen this tournament, where they're just Killer Instinct to their death, putting them in stupid positions where they just get killed off. But Elk had an alright game as well. I think that should be pointed out as well. To the fact that essentially one headshot did about half the HP of anyone on Gen G. And looking at the build coming out from Peanut in game number 3, I really don't like it. Honestly, I really don't like this build. And there's a huge reason why. Yes, you do have Kaiser for AP, but the Abyssal Mask / Helm, whatever it's called anymore, Adaptive Helm, Abyssal Mask, whichever one it is, I tend to forget. It's a good item in terms of low eco builds. You buy it so that you provide some sort of effect where you reduce MR of the enemy team when you're near them. But to be honest, I would honestly have preferred Demonic Embrace. Seriously. The fact that you've got 1, 2, 4 items and none of them are damage items as a Maokai is really depressing. And the fact that this game was actually very close, game 3, look at that gold. It was close till the 29th minute when Baron was started to be played for by Gen G. And so you kind of think, well, how do you deal with this? Because it's literally 3 Barons it took Gen G to win this game. Simple as that. It was not a close game past 29 minutes because they blew it open with a fight, but it was still nail biting. I remember I watched this live at work and it was like, it's gonna be a repeat, it's gonna be BLG 3-0ing Gen G, and I was like, please don't do that. I predicted a 3-2. I think I predicted Gen G winning as well. I did, because I remember saying, I'm amazed that it's 95% Gen G winning as a prediction. It made 0 sense for that to be the prediction. Instead, I predicted 3-1. What am I thinking? I should have gone 3-2. Because that was... Oh, I'm an idiot. I honestly thought I predicted 3-2. I mean, I know I got the prediction wrong, but I think I'm going to change it to 3-2 was my prediction. Anyway, game 3, one-sided past the 29 minutes. That's all you need to know. Game 4 is where we're heading. This is my favorite game. Jokes. Game 5 is. So, but let's get into this. Actually, no, we'll do another. Yeah, we'll do this one on GOL as well, unfortunately. No, what am I doing? I said 4 and 5. On VOD. We're doing a VOD. I promise it, I'm following through. Let's get it. BLG blue, Gen G red. Still match point for BLG. Gen G need to get to silver scrapes. It's simple as that. BLG removed the Yone out of Chovy's hands. He popped off on it in game number 3. Game 4, not going to get it. Silas also removed from Chovy's hands. Rakan also removed by BLG. Jax, Renata, Xayah removed by Gen G. Let's be honest, Renata, been a menace. Been an absolute monster when it's been picked up. But another pick that's been a massive menace is Shun's Jarvan. The response, Doran gets the Rumble with the Vi. I would honestly like this combination. because you still get the spit roast when the Jarvan Cataclysms. You can just drop the equalizer on that pit of fun and get so much damage down. But BLG, what will they respond with? The Vi locked in. I think you've got to go ADC here. Or mid. Orianna, probably still a big option that I think would work out, but it's going to be Nico coming through for presumably Yagao. It can go into the support role, but as a whole, Nico very much so a mid laner now. The Pop Blossom will do work as Yagao gets to lock in Cassante for his top laner. Been throwing the gauntlet down. Honestly, Cassante into Rumble. Ugh, I would honestly have preferred Nah. I still think Nah into anything that's like melee does so much work. I think Nah in the late game as well. With the fact that you see a Vi, you can provide a bit more peel with the ultimate. You've also, sure, reliant on having the damage to build up your Mega Gnar, but one ultimate would be huge. With this comp that BLG already have got, it's insane. But Cassante still is very impactful. It's a big pick, to say the least. Coming through here for BLG and Bin specifically. The response, though, as I'm trying to remove something off my foot. The response from Genji is the Akali for Chovy. He's throwing a gauntlet down. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, sure, he's done well on this pick at this tournament, but into Nico, it's a weird one, because you're going to have to rely heavily on your dashes to get out of the Pop Blossom. So, with the fact that if you do dash into her, chances are she will pop that Pop Blossom and get a massive stun or knock up on you. Now, Genji, coming into this second phase, they ban out ADCs, as do BLG. They also ban out Nautilus, so NG, they slammed the Kalista. Why not? You've got a lot of good options to engage, so maybe the Black Spear won't go onto Delight. Maybe it'll go onto Peanut. Or Chovy is some peel. But as a whole, looking at BLG, their response is going to be TK coming through. What's the ADC pick to match alongside TK? Senna? Senna Tom Kench is probably the most notable bot lane that can be played with these two. Obviously, doesn't have to happen that way. It could be something completely different. It's going to be the Ashe. Okay. So, not going to go with the infinite scaling option. Instead, get the Ashe, get the slows. You kind of do well into Akali, because you can throw the threaded volley into her mist, and you kind of reveal where she is stood, because of if she'll be tagged by essentially an arrow. That's the easy way to word it. The last pickup for Genji will be the Rel, this time in Delight's hands. This is a welcome change, to be honest, as Delight on engaging options looks very good. Peanut now also not on Rel is a good thing, because he hasn't looked good on that pick at all in this matchup. So BLG and Genji get fairly different comps, completely different looks to how they have done in the previous few games. And so here in game 4, I think we're going to have to pay our attention to that top side. I think Doran on this Rumble, if he gets ahead early, genuinely will do some good. I think the fact that Rumble is just a massive lane bully, especially into a Cassante who, to be honest, isn't as effective as what he once was when he was initially released. So, here we go. Getting onto the riff for game number 4. It's amazing that it's gone for the full 5 games here at Worlds. And these two teams battling it out for a semi-finals berth. Who will get it? BLG or Gen G? Win if you're the LPL rep and you're through. Lose and Gen G take you to silver scrapes. It's a big result. No matter what, it's got big match fight feels as the two teams fan out pretty evenly across the rift. No cheeky vision ward just yet from either side, but On and Elk getting aggressive, Yagao in the area. They will get into this blue buff quadrant. And no ward dropped. Instead, it's looking like a full invade out from BLG. Gonna try and steal away this buff. You have to feel is a ward placed down by Shun, I believe, to secure this area. BLG stealing away the blue buff. You have to feel if they go towards Gromp, they will be spotted out. So Shun probably will just get this and go. Now, if I was this Jarvan, I would go blue buff through to your blue jungle. Instead, he's actually going to go steal away the Wolfcamp, missing the Gromp completely. This is kind of greedy, to say the least. Obviously, I'd expect the straight back away to come out from Shun, but he is going to just full clear. I was holding off on the F there because I was expecting him to just maybe go retreat back to his own jungle, but no, it's going to get the full clear of this bottom side of the map, and I'm interested to see how Peanut paths here. As mid, just a bit of concentrating isn't going to result in too much, as the bot side, the Crashdown comes through. The Abyssal Voyage, though, forces pays incredibly low. This is a very oppressive BLG bot lane early, as the Ashe honestly is a hard counter to the Kalista. The slows that you can apply to deny the jumps is huge. And as such, you realistically will be having to play very respectful if you are Pays and Delight, who are now stuck under their tower, susceptible to a repeat gank that we saw in game number 1. This time, TPs are invested. Flash out from On pulls him to safety, as that's a TP denial. The Rumble gets forced to stay top, and first blood secured by BLG. Gen G's now in an issue, a bit of a bad state, as Delight gets the stun under tower, but no one else is going to fall. BLG get first blood and a tower plate for literally nothing, I feel. And that's honestly, you have to give a lot of credit over to Bin for denying the TP on this Rumble. It had to have been a Q3 from the Cassante, or maybe his W. They're the only two options he has access to. But that was a massive denial that gives first blood over to BLG. And that's more gold in their back pocket. The kill went over to the Ashe as well. It's the right target to get the gold. Now, I am a little surprised that it's not Cull Ashe, because realistically speaking, you're in a farming matchup. And yeah, this is deja vu of game number 1, as the Q3 denies the Rumbles access to the fight. Then the threaded volleys land. Pays is slowed. Flashes nicely the flying drag, but the damage out from Elk. He's already got his Q procced. Firing in. That's an easy kill. And Gen G, they lose a kill in the bot lane, as my dogs will bark in a few seconds. Apologies for that, people who are watching. But yeah, BLG having a good early game. Now, obviously, jungle has suffered a little bit here. Shun fallen slightly behind due to the fact that there was a kill. But that's going to be a massive trade through from Gen G. They didn't expect the Vi there, but topside Doran getting incredibly low. Run down, the flash trade comes through, but Cassante doing Cassante things. He gets the Q3, and that is a kill traded back. This time an isolated matchup, finding advantages for BLG, as their bot side, they give over a kill, a nice kill. It's unfortunate it goes over to Delight once again. But BLG, they're doing good here. Top side, you get pushing, the wave crashes. Obviously, been TP'd earlier, so he doesn't have that ability as that's going to be the cleanse forced out of Pays, and he's just ran down where he stands. Shun gets himself on the board this time, and Delight, you feel, will be the next to fall. The Pot Blossom will not land, and actually the Rel gets to safety. BLG, they're doing okay right now. They give up the Drake, sure, but they respond in kind by killing the Kalista. That's a 0-2-1 champion now. The ADC not having a good game so far, being punished heavily. And BLG, you've got to give credit to Jarvan doing work here. This is not technically a 50-50. It was an easy smite secure for the Vi. But look at the flag and drag. The cleanse came out way too early. And as such, Jun just gets the kill. Pays him nowhere to go. And as such, he dies for his positioning. Nowhere near his team. Nowhere to escape. Topside, back to looking relatively on par with one another. Bin obviously got some nice gold from that kill. But the CS is close. And you would have thought, with the fact the massive wave got pushed in by this Cassante into the top tower, uncontested, you would have thought maybe it would have been slightly more than what it is. But regardless of that, BLG, they are ahead. Top side, you see a massive XP differentiation. As where is Doran? He is behind Yagao. So as a whole, this Bin's almost a full level up on his lane opponent. As bot side, just going to be the wave crashing. Not much more needs to be said there. Herald has spawned. Kind of surprised neither support has roamed up for this. It hasn't been too much prio on this objective. It's mainly been on the Drakes. These two teams want to secure that for their own gains. And BLG won the first two maps because they secured Soul, got Elder, and then were able to win the game. Here, there's a little bit of a contest. The bot lane gonna roam up out of Gen G, but it isn't gonna result in too much other than they deny Herald. They secure it for themselves. BLG probably gonna have to give up turret plates. Maybe in the mid lane, I think the Akali should realistically be given the gold. But it doesn't hurt if the Kalista gets some. She is sitting behind this Ashes. Bin gets free wave pushing. The equalizer dropped as a Fate's Call used bot side. The Ashe isolated, crashed down on, and knocked into a bit of a situation. The Devour comes through. The Vi running forward. Not gonna be able to use the cease and desist. That's just a clean escape out from BLG after kind of overstepping there. Gen G punished their positions as well. There's now no Devour on this TK for the next few minutes. You kind of have to think maybe we see a repeat play, but this time the Vi getting involved, as that was a very aggressive maneuver out from the Gen G bot lane, who, sure, didn't really get any big sums out of BLG. I guess the heal on Elk is a big sum, but it's not the main one. It's not the Flash. The Flash being ever so important to an Ashe. Because A, allows her to chase down quite easily. She can flash on top of you with the W. And then stack up the Qs quite quickly. With lethal tempo as well. So yeah, not getting that summoner kind of is an issue. However, it hasn't resulted in anything bad for Gen G just yet. They get a nice reset off for Pays, who now has his boots, has Vamp Scepter in his back pocket. Going to be able to sustain a little bit easier through this matchup as mid. Shun looking for Chovy. As Chovy stashes forward. No more E for safety. The sweep here will force Chovy back, as Jun had full vision of his presence. But no. No Summoner burnt. That's kind of unfortunate here as a Pot Blossom mid. Bin is down here. The Cassante not going to be able to push back the Akali to deny that perfect execution. But big Summoner out from the Akali means Drake will be secured by BLG. Plus the roam down should honestly secure that for them as well. There you go, Drake secured, but TP in from behind. Gen G looking for a flank, looking for a fight. Not gonna get it. Doran, is this an overinvestment? Honestly, the Rumble could have stayed top and secured more plates. And instead, they're not gonna get anything. TP bot by Cassante. This is a bit of a misplay, I think, from Bin. Herald dropped. Equalizer dropped. Tower gonna fall. The Ashe Arrow comes through. Cassante going all out, trying to kill the Rel, but the Fate's Call pulls it to safety, and that's just an easy execution. It looked closer than it needed to have been, but Peanut secures the kill, and topside TP comes through for Chovy as he gets himself some gold on their minions. That's a nice investment, to say the least. As, what do you know? Pays, getting paid, no kind of champion to protect that tower bot side means BLG bleeding gold on the map. And you kind of think, is this the fight back? Is this the way Gen G get back into this game? You've got a Callista getting turret plates. She hasn't got kills yet. That's the big thing, is Callista with no kills isn't as impactful as one that's got like 12. Well, 12's a late game sort of kill score, but like 0, 2, and 2 is not a good ADA. Pays, sure, he's got a fairly even farm, and that's honestly a decent thing to be at. You got quite a bit of turret plates, which should probably bring the kill advantage a little bit closer. But, you know, BLG, they're a sort of team that will try to make this scrappy. There'll be a fight sooner rather than later where Shun will get a massive Cataclysm onto someone. Honestly, this game, the targets for Cataclysm are quite limited compared to previous. But if you give me a minute, I do need to quickly pause the game and do something, because I think my food's here. So give me a minute. Sorry about that, I had to go grab my food, which is a nice fish and chip shop meal, as you do on a Friday. Got a little confused there, because I have two things on here that are called camera and webcam, and I turned the wrong one on. I'm actually going to delete that one. Yes, I want to remove that one. And we back see. I've got some food to eat, so I will be talking while eating, which is meh. Hey, here we go. Game. So we're just to catch up on where we were. Game 4. Gen G in a decent position, up in 1.1k. Gold sitting presumably on the Vi and the Akali, even though the Akali hasn't really done much. I'm surprised Nico has fallen behind in that matchup. That's something. It's 30 CS. What has Yagao done? It's not looked good. The fact that he's behind in this matchup really is surprising, because energy investment is kind of the thing that Akali does. So the fact that she's kind of been able to not be punished, I guess, is a bit surprising, as Chovy goes aggressive, trying to get onto Elk, but a collapse is coming through from BLG. They spot the Akali out, the Ashe hits the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but Chovy, he's still alive, he's still able to run around, he's still got his ultimate if he needs to, he dashes away, he's got the E onto Elk, not gonna pop it, instead he's being ran down by the entirety of BLG, and Xun, the Cataclysm, secures the kill. Chovy falls in a matchup, surprising he was already ahead, but Yagao caught, forced the flash away. Drake up in 50 seconds. BLG get the kill onto the mid laner. Happy about that one. Kind of unfortunate there's no KP for Nico, who honestly needs some gold. Falling behind already. But Chovy, he had a bounty on his head. And that's gone over to Xun. This 2-0-1 Jarvan continuing to be a big threat. And these two teams, honestly, it looks like they've got differing preference on this Jarvan. Because you would have thought it would have been first pick at least once here by Peanut. But he hasn't shown it. And instead, Xun's just having a fun time. As here, Chovy, it looks like he's got out. But he just tries to stay. Gets hit by a tongue lash. And as such, this chase down becomes a lot easier. The flash forward from On allows for another tongue lash to hit. And that slowdown allows for Xun to come over the wall. The Cataclysm to secure the kill. And there you go. Two objectives. Probably going to go over to BLG. They get the Herald. Will they get themselves the Drake? Because, yeah, still Chovy ahead. 400 gold. And he's still down a kill. Oh, God. What has Yagao done this game? I honestly wish I had access to his player, like, his screen. I would love to just watch his game. Because that kind of would tell me the story of how he fell behind. Genji is securing the strike. No contest from BLG. Can't really step up. They're not in a position to do so right now. Obviously, Yagao can't TP. And where is Yagao? Where is the Nico? There's the Nico. I was trying to look at the minimap and see where she was, and she just wasn't on there for me. Probably because she was disguised as TK. Anyway, top side. Chovy could be caught out once again. He's going 1v1 with Bin, but here's the enchanted crystal arrow hitting, tagging, the pot blossom landing. That's the stun, the pullback into the killing spree for Shun. And finally, getting on the board with a assist is Yagao. That gold lead that we were saying that this Nico needed, it's starting to come online. Sure, it's a little late, it's a little delayed, 18 minutes on the clock, BLG getting a push. The response, though, coming from this Rumble is going to be a trade of tier 2s. This is still beneficial to BLG by all means, but you have to be wary. This Rumble getting gold into his back pocket, already about 800 gold up on this Cassante. This is probably going to be a massive fight, and massive equalizer going to come out from Doran in terms of damage here, as that's the Hex Flash forward. Shun caught out, forced under tower. The Gore Drinker healing gives him a little bit more sustain, so the dive cannot come through from Gen G, who did invest Ignite there. Haven't got that spell as Yagao stepping forward on the flank to tag onto the Vi. But the objective, the blue buff being the objective in this case, secured by BLG. They don't give over anything to Gen G here. And as a whole, it's getting to a point where it's slightly scary. Two teams very close. One misstep, and that's probably the end of the game, as Chovy goes aggressive, trying to get onto Yagao, forces him off the wave. This is probably how the entire mid lane matchup has gone all game. Chovy goes aggressive onto Yagao. Yagao forced to back away. And Chovy gets push. Simple as that. Now, something that is surprising to me is, this is something that I've got used to while playing Ashe support. So it may be a bit different for ADC Ashe. I'm not entirely sure, but essentially, you typically can just continue to throw out the Ashe arrow, the enchanted crystal arrow as it's actually called. You can just continue to throw it out against your opponents and hope it lands. And that's probably because you have a massive amount of CDR as a support. In terms of build, you go for what? Imperial Mandate. Umbral Glaive. But BLG are in the area for the Baron. Will we see them start this one up? Cleared out all the vision. Gen G unawares as On gets jumped on. That's going to be the flag and drag through. They caught out the Vi, and on a rampage goes Shun as the Fates Call used the equalizer, kind of whiffed. Gen G forced to retreat as Chovy on the flank. He could be caught out. Jumps over the wall. Perfect execution to safety. BLG, they find the jungler and they turn towards this Baron, looking to secure this big purple worm for them. Gen G need to turn to fight. They need to deny this objective if they want to contest this game. Doran starting to burn through the health bars. The Baron below 4k health. The crash down. The Magnet Storm finds 3, but it's not enough. Gen G get 1 kill, but lose 2 more. The Baron going over. BLG secure the buff and lose only 1 for this. It's a huge fight, a huge turning point for the game, as this buff should allow BLG to cleanly push through to the tier 2s. As here, Peanut goes way too far forward. No safety, no backup, and he isolates himself and just gets deleted. Chovy forced to dash, play safe. He goes too late on his sort of advancements as here. It looks like Doran could find the massive flame spitter and get something if Rel finds the ult. But Bin, he actually pushes Delight into a better position, I felt. The Magnet Storm, sure, it finds the targets. It finds 3, but when he's in that many people, isolated and alone, he's not going to do too much, and as such, Gen G lose another member, lose a Drake and the Baron, and they are possibly going to get a kill instead. Pop Blossom use, the flat arrow goes wide, I think? And as such, Gen G get the kill. Chovy still without a kill. That one went over to Delight. Not Delight, Vi. Goes over to Peanut. There you go. And as such, Gen G could honestly do stuff with this. That's a massive use of the support item from the TK. But look at the health bar. Absolutely gone. And Chovy finds the flank. Gets onto Elk. And now he sees a TK. He sees the kills. And Gen G find more as they're killing off BLG. This Baron turns into a negative play. And BLG, they're being slain. Bin running, trying to escape, but being chased down by the top and jungle. The Rel showing up, but all out is used. Bin trying to trade this one through. He sees a low health bar. The shield from the gargoyles, not enough. And that's a killing spree now for Peanut, who is turning it up here in game number 4. 4-1-2 on this fight. A lot better impact on this compared to the Rel. As here, this Magnet Storm does work. It pulls Elk and onto the equalizer. And when the Devour comes through, Elk's basically dead. So when he's spat out in Chovy's face, the Q auto combo just kills him where he stands. Then it's very easy for Peanut to get the follow-up. And sure, Kazante tried to back in safety, but he was not safe. And as such, BLG, they bleed 3. And they lose out with that Baron. It was a negative Baron power play. Over 1.8 gold, I believe it said on the top of our screens. But yeah, that's a big... Wow, that is a big gold swing. That one fight, you shut down the Ash and the TK, you just get the lead. And it looks like we're going to get another fight as the equalizer dropped onto Elk. Taken incredibly low. Chovy actually is going to execute on, but he's going forward even more. He gets onto Shun. The Cataclysm used. The Pop Blossom not going to land onto Chovy, who's still alive. Trading aggressively. And Callista is now online. Gets the kill onto the Yigao. And now Gen G on the front foot. What seems like an eternity in this series. They're getting aggressive. They're getting dirty. And they're catching out BLG perfectly. It's resulting in so much gold. They shut down the Baron that was snuck. They shut down BLG's push. And now they see an isolated Elk. Chovy and Doran combined together to absolutely delete his health bar. He's forced flash over the wall. And then he's isolated in that play. He gets deleted by 5 members of Gen G. Then here, it's just the cleanup for Callista as Chovy in a bit of a situation. Flag and drag forward from Shun. Forces the perfect execution. Cataclysm gets this Vi trapped up, but she's able to escape with a flash and a Q. And now BLG, they've got their eyes on this Ocean Drake. Sole point if they secure it. But it's the same story for Gen G. They're wanting this as well. This could be a decisive game-winning fight in literally 40 seconds. Now, we're going to have to take stock of items because that's the important bit. Who do we need to keep our eyes on? Simply put, that bot lane stopwatch picked up across 3 members of Gen G. They want to play this safe. They want to get this nice big team fight for themselves and utilize that status, that safety and vulnerability perfectly. As Gen G, they're getting to that stage where they need to be feared. This Rumble is a big factor, who does just get a massive chunk of damage done to it, rooted where he stands. But the Crashdown, the Magnet Storm, pulls BLG onto the equalizer. Yagao falls, that Pot Blossom finds no one, and this is just a murder crew for Gen G. A double kill for the Rumble. Pays is getting paid. He's chasing this Jarvan down. This formidable foe. A double kill to the ADC of Gen G. And this should be the winning push that Gen G need. They're not gonna go for it. Instead, they see the Baron's up. They're gonna get the big purple worm buff. They're gonna utilize the pressure. They're not wanting to throw when it matters most. BLG threw it literally a few minutes ago with their Baron push. Gen G know they can't go over aggressive. They know TK and Ash and Nico all come up at the same time. It was not enough time to end this game. Instead, they're going to secure the Baron. As we watch this again, it's Delight finding a massive Magnet Storm Crashdown combo. It gets Yagao on the equalizer. The immediate usage of the Devour, and as such, no safety tools for BLG, means that this Rumble can just burn through their health bars. Chovy and Pays then get to clean up the rest of the fighters. This Kalista, we said it would come online, and oh boy, has it. It's now a big threat that Gen G can utilize and hopefully allow them to push through to the win. Hurricane secured, a Vamp Scepter in the back pocket as well. All of the stopwatches are gone bar one, as two massive pickups. Actually, it's three, as a GA was picked up for the Vi. Peanut in a safe position now to go aggressive and look for picks in the backside. As well as now, Chovy and Doran have their Zhonyas fully complete, so they can be as aggressive as Peanut. This is a huge pickup for Gen G, so their aggression can be unwavering, and they can honestly look for tower dives if needs be. As the arrow lands, as another root lands, that's a lot of damage down onto Doran. He's not able to pop the stopwatch. He's not able to use the Zhonyas. He is shut down where he stands as, oh, Shun, he misses the flying indrag. He was trying to chase down Pays, but that Fate's Call pulls the Rel to safety. BLG, they find a shutdown. They find some solace, some reprieval in the push for that Gen G are trying to apply, but BLG, they're still alive in this game. They're still able to play this, and you kind of have to feel it's going to have to come down to whether or not they can pick off Pays. This ADC is getting online, starting to get towards that GA. And once Kalista gets that, she's probably going to be very hard to deal with. She'll probably almost certainly be unkillable, as she's got the backup from the Rel to just dissuade the engage, to go aggressive. Abyssal Mass secured for Delight as well. So that's actually an item I like in this game, more so than last. You've got a Rumble and a Kali, both heavy AP damage dealers, both close range melee champs. Having the Rel with a Abyssal Mass just amplifies their damage tenfold. It's a lot more impactful this game compared to previous ones where they've gone for this build. So I'm kind of happy to see it here, as Yagao not going to be caught out. That's the Poppycopter. Not the Poppycopter, the Nicocopter. Just providing vision to BLG. And now we kind of reached that lull point of the game where I get to eat some food, because not much action will happen for a couple minutes. No objectives on the map. It's just going to be a farm fest. And typically, during a farm fest, it's usually where you get to talk about the state of the game. And I'm looking at that Nico with a massive goose egg on that kill score. 0, 3, and 7. Unable to really find impact with that Pot Blossom. You're kind of thinking, if you're BLG at this state, you need a massive flank from this Nico to get the big Pot Blossom. To get something where you catch out Pays. He's got Cleanse, sure. But if you're able to pop him before he's able to pop that, that's huge. Now, he still hasn't got a GA. He has a stopwatch. He is still susceptible to being caught out. And I think BLG are fully aware of it. They're setting up for the Baron to try and force Gen.G into these choke points where they can utilize the Cataclysm, the Pot Blossom, effectively. Sure, it does allow for the Rumble Equalizer to catch you out and do damage. Sure, it allows for an easier access for the Akali to dash through everyone and get a perfect execution. But BLG need a fight where they're able to get a Pot Blossom that's huge, that's monumental, before the Devour has to be popped onto Elk. Because literally, it will be the battle of the ADCs, as GA actually is now secured for Pays. Gen.G should be on the warpath now. They should be looking to force the push, force the momentum. This Baron should be more of a priority to them. They should honestly force Baron, because Drake matters nothing. It doesn't matter to BLG. They're up an entire Drake as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is actually used. The Devour is also used. Pays can go aggressive as Elk has no safety. The Pot Blossom only lands onto one, but it's kind of ineffective as Chovy gets onto the backline. He gets to execute off the Ashen TK. And now the Callista free firing, deleting BLG where they stand. Game 4 is done. Silver Scrapes is upon us as Gen.G take us the distance here, and this is just the swan song of the game. BLG are falling, the Jarvan is down, the base is going, it's crumbling, and Gen.G take us to game number 5. Let's be honest, no one expected 5 games. I mean, I kind of did, but no one really expected it to be close. People, for some reason, felt that this would be an easy game for Gen.G. 95% of people in their pick'ems went with Gen.G. Here, taking the distance against the second seed of the LPL. This team that honestly has been the underdogs throughout their international stay. They're always the dark horse. And Bin and Shun have stepped up considerably for this team. It's now time for Yagao to do the same. It's been very, and I do mean this, very kind of disappointing from how Yagao has played throughout this tournament. He hasn't really had to step up, but in this situation against Chovy, who in this game came to play, got the 30 CSD at what, 10 minutes? It put Yagao in such an awful position where he couldn't play this game effectively. The Nico felt pretty bad, and as such now they're on to match point here. Gen.G, so is BLG. But hey, who cares? We're getting into game 5. Do or die for either team now. I'm very hungry though, so I may take a 5-minute break to eat some food. See you in a bit. Wee. Boom. 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 So, are you ready? Hopefully my webcam will turn on now. But Game 5 is upon us. I've eaten some food. My stomach is very happy. There we go. Turn on. Good boy. Whee! Hello. Also, I'm very depressed with that. Because it should have been good. To be honest, there you go. I have a decent transition now. I was messing around with this earlier, by the way, the transition stuff. We'll go back to fade, because I like that. Just going boom. But because it's me, I'd like it back at 200. Pretty easy. For now. Give me a minute. But yeah, I generally thought I'd have more than just one, considering I watched the entire series. But hey. Time for some grind and glory. Game 5. Win and you're through to knockout stage. Simple as that. Oh, this is actually really good food. So I'm actually going to finish it. I think in this is the first stage internationally that you kind of want a middling seat. It's like MSI and the previous Seoul arenas. You kind of wanted to sit on the left and right sides because you could actually have a straight look at the screen. Whereas here, you kind of want to be central because there's a big screen up middle. Plus, you get better view of the players as well. So yeah, here we go. Let me just quickly wash the bread down with a drink. There we go. That also revitalizes my voice. So let's get into Game 5. Draft has been kind of the most important thing from either side. And boy, do these fans know it. It's the most impactful stage. And that's something I've got to like about the Korean fans, is how invested they are in this game. This generally amazes me, the sort of reactions that we see from them over a little game. And the fact that they're so invested makes this all the more... what's the word? Encapsulating. As we get into draft for game number 5. Genji are on red side. BLG are on blue. We're already halfway through the bands. In fact, we're through the bands. Silas, Rakan, Aatrox gone. Jax, Renata, Xayah gone. That leaves Rumble up and available to BLG. And you have to feel, after 5 grueling times going through draft now, BLG have realized Gen G don't typically play the Jarvan. They've allowed it to be picked up by BLG every single game. So BLG changed the formula up. They are the ones to get the Rumble early. The response from Gen G is the Nah and probably their jungler in the Vi. It's the kind of, we want to shut your Rumble down early. It's their common combo. I would honestly have preferred if Gen G would have wanted to take the Jarvan, but they give it up. They allow Shun to have 4 games on this pick, I believe. Insanity that he has found this big, impactful champion all throughout the series, and now it's paired up with 2 big AP carries, with the Ori rounding out the first phase. Chovy throws the gauntlet down once again. The Akali coming through. BLG now have to deal with a fairly even draft in terms of everything. We're just seeing top picks, jungle and mid. It's the ADCs now in the firing line. Nautilus, Caitlyn removed from the board. Kaiser, you have to feel, will be banned. Kalista, you have to feel, probably will be banned by BLG more so than anything. But Gen G, how do they target this one out? You've got some big picks still up and available to both bot lanes, and it would be kind of ironic if we just see ADCs locked in 4 and then supports in 5. But Aphelios removed from the board, we are getting further and further down this totem pole of available picks. Personally, I'd really like to see the Kaiser ban, or what else is there that could be banned out? I mean, support-wise, TK? Kalista banned, actually. That's the one I wanted banned already. But that does mean Kaiser takes prio as the ADC pool is shrunk. Now, Senna, TK is still up and available. We saw TK already use Bion in game number 4. Will it be paired by its normal feng shui partner of the Senna? That would be my ideal bot lane pick for BLG. And if that gets locked in, both teams lock their drafts in the correct order. No switching of roles. Gen G now, they're gonna go Rel. It makes the most sense. Nothing else would work. Like Blitz, Hook, Pike Hook, all bad into this BLG squad. They want to be up close and personal with you, except for the Senna and the Ori. So actually, Blitz wouldn't have been terrible, to be honest. I would have liked it, but it's just not as impactful on this world stage as what it has been in prior years when it was locked in. But here, drafts are finally locked in. We're getting into game number 5. Do or die for either team. Only one can advance to the semi-finals. And with these 2 drafts laid on the line, you look at the comps. Gen G, Heavy Dive, Akali, Vi, and Rel all want to get in and perfectly execute you to then allow for a safe killer instinct to the backside for the Kaiser. And then Naj just there to get the wallop and the push into the wall. As for BLG, they've got a ball delivery system, the Jarvan, and the TK able to take that into the backside of Gen G and try to burst that Kaiser out before she can have any impact on this game. As for the rest of their comp, they're there to burn you down, baby. the Cataclysm Equalizer combination, the best combo at this tournament by far, is here and able to do work. Now, we get into the game for our final time today. The fan of 5 from either side. Nothing going to be given up onto the Rift, as actually that's an early ward out from Delight into the top river. They kind of expect here, Gen G, the Rumble to get aggressive early and try to force into the Gnar. Try and put the Gnar low in terms of health, so he has to play on the defensive. But Bin plays respectful. He is now going to get into lane as the minion wave comes up towards him. Actually, that ward could be very impactful, as he is going to step into that brush he's spotted. So top side, Doran going to get a decent trade to start off. Knows full well where Bin is. As such, he can isolate him off the wave. As for starts go, I'm hoping we don't see what happened with, was it Death Center? Where it got insanely fed early. As that's going to be the remount from Delight. Early trading into Elk. The Ignite used. That's a very early bit of aggression from this Rel. Not going to get too much out of it either, however. Level 2, though, probably will be on the horizon for Gen G, so that does force Elk and On off the wave. And actually, it does mean that Elk's not able to pick up as many souls as he wanted to. A few were denied there by Gen G. And so this is a decent early game start for their bot side. As Jun gonna come in. He gets to steal away quite a few of the mini raptors. That's a big impactful thing for him. Continuing to press forward, forcing Peanut out of his jungle. Not even gonna go for the red buff. Instead, he's flag and dragging on top of him. This is the junglers just fighting. The top laners aren't even gonna join up with this. And the tower dive somehow becomes a common trend. It's looking like it's going to happen again. The last few times have been in the bot side of the Rift. This time, the top side is in danger. Doran going to be forced into an awkward situation of flag and drag. Not perfect, but the Ignite from Bin secures first blood. Gen G now are on the back foot to the top jungle combo of BLG. We already talked about the split roast that this top lane can do with the jungler. It's already coming online early. First blood secured. And Jun active in the early game. Pretty much throughout the entire series. Getting these tower dives down. He doesn't get the knock up this time. But he does enough to get the damage down. He tries to get the flash with it, but he does it a bit too late. So he'd already completed the flag and drag animation there. But it, in the end, doesn't really matter, because Doran gets killed off by the Ignite. Because this is not the normal TP Rumble we saw in the last game. This is one that's running double sort of fighty ones. He's not got the TP to get back quick. He can be susceptible to being punished. Instead, Peanut has found a wraparound into the bot side. He knows now, regardless of what path he takes, he will be spotted. And here, another Abyssal Voyage pulls on to safety. He knew that once the crashdown came through from the Rel and the Q, nothing was there to stop him from using it. And so he gets away, takes a little bit of damage, another Ignite put down on him, as well as his flash burn. But hey, he will take that any day of the week to keep himself alive. He scaves off the gank, and now Shun sits firmly even in terms of CS after investing quite a bit of time on the top side to get a gank. Now here is the issue for Gen G. They're unawares, now they know Jarvan's down here. Could have been scary. Could have been a possible gank out from Shun and possibly ballooning their bot lane ahead. However, Elk took a full reset, gets his boots of Swifties, so he's going to be traveling back to lane quite quick. He's okay with losing a few CS here, as TK just will get to farm up freely. He is the main farmer for this bot lane matchup for BLG. And yeah, he kind of wants to get a reset off here. He needs one, to be honest. He's behind a few items now, as Boots and a Ruby Crystal come into Delight's back pocket here. And New Quiver up for Pays. I think, honestly, On needs a reset. And while this Drake is being secured, once this is secured, he'll take his back. But hey, only time will tell whether or not he will. Regardless, he's only got a Dora shield in his back pocket, and finally he gets the back. 2 souls into Senna's back pocket after securing a Hex Drake. BLG continuing where they left off with objective control. It's been essentially, if they get the first Drake, they continue to stack them up, and they have won the games every time they've got soul. So Gen G, there probably needs to be a bit more focus down there. The big issue though for both teams is the first 2 Drakes are very big. They're not the soul, bear in mind, so the fact that it's Mountain and Hex Drakes being secured early means that the chances of it being a Cloud or a Chemtech are quite high, but there's obviously still a chance for Ocean and for Infernal, the 2 you realistically would like. I'm pretty sure Infernal will be the most wanted of the 4, sorry, because you want the extra burst to deal with Gen G as a whole. Now with Herald spawning onto the map, the 2 teams should start to path up here. I'm kind of surprised the bot lanes are still trading with one another, but Gen G are trying to force a wave into the tower to get their reset off. Instead, BLG just pulling the wave, putting it in a situation where it's going to be frozen outside of the tower. And so Delight, he says, well, I can't impact this. They're going to get this freeze off regardless. I'm going to roam up. I'm going to help protect my mid lane and possibly look to force this Herald. That's kind of the mindset here, as he will spot out Shun, clearing out his Raptors. It kind of means Gen G, no, they don't have to go directly to this objective just yet. They are gonna, with Peanut getting onto this Herald. No vision here for BLG. Instead, they're giving it up. Shun just checking the red side bottom jungle. Why not? See if there's any camps available to him. See if he can possibly go for a cheeky little gank, as he gives up Herald for possible advantages that won't end up coming through, as Vi actually is trying to steal away a camp of her own. She's on to the blue buff, I believe. I'm just watching her CSD. If it goes up, yes it will. It gets secured, so Peanut counter jungling effectively here, stealing away the only bit of jungle that Shun has up onto him, and he's going to find out now that he has no camp here. And as such, he's in a bit of a weird place where none of his camps are up just yet. The Scuttle Crab, the first thing to spawn for him. And now he's thinking he may have to go force a play topside, as Shun shows himself. Doran backs to the safety of the top lane. He knows he's got Delight up behind him. Gonna play it quite safe. And Scuttlecrab secured for Shun should allow him to reset back into his jungle and clear out the waves as topside. Gnarl comes through, the equalizer dropped onto the wave, and the Magnet Storm used alongside it. Dawn Shadow used to keep Bin alive. And Gen G, they bring 3 members top. But the impact from BLG across the map keeps their top laner alive. Sure, it's an ulti trade as 2 ults get used on Gen G side as well as BLG side. But overall, you have to feel that's worth it for BLG. Sure, you lose both summoners on your top laner, but he's still alive. You didn't go over the first kill to Gen G. You keep them kind of in this deficit, this weird deficit. They're up 300 gold here at BLG. Their bot lane have control, sorta. It's a weird one. I just looked at the CS and it's like, why is the Senna only on 10 CS? And then you remember it's a Senna. But I've also not moved over my camera. How long have I been like that? Good job, me. There we go. Anyway, back to trading bot side. It's just going to be a standardized trade as pays. Forced to run away. Didn't want to give over another soul, another stack to the Senna. Elk ticks over to 40 in his back pocket. Means he's got that extra range and damage from his passive coming through. This is a good state for BLG to be in. With the Mountain Drake up, they could look to secure this one. Vi is wrapping down here though, but with push heavily in BLG's favour in the bot lane, they could honestly easily secure that as Bin and Yagao coming down to the bot side and map. This is going to be a Mountain Drake secure mission for BLG. Where is Peanut? He's back in base. So BLG, they invest heavily to securing this objective. Obviously, Rift Herald in the back pocket of Gen G. They're not going to overinvest like BLG just have. They might honestly look to get Doran some more turret plates here. Herald obviously can be used. It's a pretty slow response out from BLG. However, they're getting turret plates on the bot side. They're happy with this trade. And finally, Peanut shows up to this top side. It's taken him a while. Look at his inventory. He's only just got his freebie boots. And now, Bin possibly could be in a bad situation. Because Delight is up here. So is Peanut. They're not going to dive the tower for him. Bin plays it safe, goes back to safety, and now the tower in the top side almost certainly will fall in favour of the Gen G top laner. That has taken him ahead in terms of gold. A massive influx of the good stuff as he gets up to about 1k, I think, when I saw that. Over Bin. No, don't get me wrong. Rumble obviously has a kill in his back pocket. Has got extremely high amounts of damage. And is realistically here for his ultimate and the Q. Other than that, he is just there. And as such, BLG, they're forcing onto him. Never mind. That's going to be Chovy TPing in behind him. He gets the E. That's going to be the equalizer dropped onto nothing. And while the Dawning Shadow came through to try and secure it, never mind. The kills are going to possibly come through even more. As Senna is caught out here as Elk forced to run away. But in the end, Yagao gets caught in the jungle. And Pays is on the board. Doran, it's time to get mega. Not gonna go aggressive onto Elk just yet. Trying to get the Senna is gonna be quite a difficult thing. She's obviously can path down to safety. And here, On's just free hitting this tower. While everything was going on, he just stayed bot. This is I forget how fun playing full tank Tom Kench can be when you have a Senna alongside it. But as a whole, right now, Gen G in control. Something we haven't really said this series is Gen G in control. they've certainly felt on the back foot for most of this game, or this series. Is here. It's a great TP fight from Chovy. He gets on top of the Rumble. The equalizer could have been better, but there's no real need for it to be used, so he used it purely because it's on such a low cooldown. He could have honestly have got a better one, to be honest, that burnt through the entirety of the snow, because Chovy forced to use the perfect execution. He does get the TP out, and Shun wrapping up here. This tier 1 will fall, as that's the Herald dropped. It's going to be a tower trade across the rift as bot lane tier 1 falls. And that gold graph sitting firmly in favor of Gen G, as only On has a lead. Granted, it's more than 2 members. It's actually more than just 2 members combined on Gen G, regardless of the 2 members. As such, On kind of is a PowerPoint for BLG. Sure, he isn't going to have the most damaging of builds. Obviously, he's got himself a locket to keep his team alive. But he's still going to go probably Sunfire here. So he's going to have such high amounts of armor. And obviously, Senna being Senna probably will switch over to a full damage build soon enough once On reaches his very strong point of power, aka full build. That's probably when BLG say, you know what, Elk, you buy yourself a mythic. You treat yourself, no longer play support. On will play support, he'll buy you the wards. You know how it is. That sort of mentality. Because considering he will have farmed up a lot, just getting a support aim late game, it's pretty easy to fully stack that up. But yeah, Gen G, BLG, positioning around this bot side. Cloud Drake has spawned. And we were saying we want an impactful soul. It's Korea, baby. It's Cloud Soul once again. Oh, yikes. Not what you want if you are BLG, considering you've got the early stack. As instead, they're trying to find Chovy in the fog. Yagao goes back to mid, tries to secure a bit of a push, but in the end, he could possibly be caught out as Chovy found on the flank. That forces BLG back. And Gen G, they stop the stacking and get themselves their first Drake. In response, this mid lane tower will fall. BLG continuing to press. They've got the inside track onto this mid lane tier 2. As Chovy being jumped on going aggressive. The Ori ball on top of this Tom Kench. The bench and the Kench. Gonna force a flash out of Chovy. The Kali now has less safety. And BLG, they're making it scrappy. Gen G hiding, lurking, ready to jump onto any unsuspecting prey. But Yagao is not that. He spots out Peanut and forces him back. And now BLG, they're starting to feel a bit better. They got themselves a mid lane tier 1, which opens up quite a decent chunk of the map for themselves. As Peanut stealing away the camp. Kind of nice there. As Shun tried to get something, isn't able to get anything in the end. Now, we're sitting 19 minutes into the game. Baron up in 35 seconds. And, you know, I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. That's probably the objective that will define this game. Drakes have been crucial to the success of either side in this series, because when you get Soul, you have that innate extra power that the other team will never have, with essentially no consequences with them. And as such, you kind of have to think, well, that power can provide me extra damage to then turn into the Baron for free, because they won't be able to fight or match our power. And that was how it was in the opening games. Here, Cloud Soul just means movement speed, and CDR, while great on certain picks like this Jarvan, it's not that impactful. In fact, I think the only champion it really benefits in this game for BLG is the TK. Extra movement speed with the Devour? Yes, please. I would love that. Better repositioning. Sign me up. But on Gen G side of things, I mean, Pays and the Rel benefit quite nicely from Cloud Soul. The movement speed you get from it, I'd say. Killer Instinct to reposition regardless into more movement speed to get better rundowns. Yes, please. Rel, the Magnet Storm, when you're crashing down, having more movement speed to pull them further, that's nice. Or get more people in it, that's another nice thing. As Baron started here by BLG, they are spotted on this. The blue trinket used, they see it's being started. The health bar not dropping quickly enough. Gen G not gonna get... Well, BLG tried to force a TP out from Chovy, who's just constantly split pushing, continuing to apply pressure, and because of that, BLG turn once again to the objective. The control ward is there. They spot this being taken, but Peanut, he was bot side. TP gonna come out here. BLG are gonna have to force the fight. Meganar has worn out. Doran is going to be defenseless, powerless. The equalizer tags onto 3, and that forces the engage out from Delight. Into the backside goes Chovy as the rest of the team gets burnt down. It's a 1-for-1 trade right now, but Jarvan, he is on fire. He is getting the kills. A double kill to the BLG jungler, and Doran forced to retreat back with no Meganar. That's a massive fight in favor of BLG, and they should definitely secure their third Drake of the game off that with Peanut being down. This here is what we like to call a misplay from Peanut. Because he went to the bot side, it meant that it forces Chovy to TP. This here was a great Magnet Storm out from Delight, but in isolation, that equalizer pushed Gen G away, so Pays wasn't able to free fire in. And because of that, it meant that all of BLG were just able to freely hit without the threat of the Kaiser. And look at Tabe's reaction. He knows that that was a close one, and they could have got the objective, but they don't. And in the end, Chovy goes aggressive. The root tags onto him as on to force the flash away, but Shun, he's overstepping, force the cataclysm, he's caught out Doran, no Meganar, no safety, force the stopwatch on the bottom of the fight, the equalizer ticking through the health bars, flashing forward is Bin, he's caught out Chovy, good night mid laner, a shutdown to Yagao, and BLG, they secure 2 kills, turn to the Baron, and are going to get this one. They don't care about this Cloud Drake. Sure, you can have that Gen G, but this Baron is our actual prize. Peanut is still alive, however. They could contest this, but it's too late. BLG get the purple worm. They get it secured, and they get back to their base. As here, Chovy goes too aggressive. He goes forward. He then gets rooted, so this is where it forces Doran to TP in. Because he thinks, okay, my mid lane is caught. In the end, he's the one who's caught. The shockwave pulls him in, so his jump isn't going to be effective. And so Yagao gets a shutdown. That equalizer was perfect out from Bin, as it ticks through the health bars. It denies that escape route for Gen G, and they're forced to take the long route. And that ends up being Chovy falling because of it. It was a clean, well-executed fight from BLG. And honestly, quite a few missteps there from Gen G. Because they've given over a Baron, and they possibly have given up this game. As Chovy on the flank is going to back away from this. Not going to overstep Instead, BLG just going to look to pressure this top lane. They got the mid lane tier 2 for themselves. Bot lane, they're not really fussed about, as instead, it's going to be Gen G catching out Shun, shutting the jungler down. Pays gets paid. And that's 2 kills on this ADC. He's going to be closing in probably on that third item, the Nash's Tooth. You have to feel will be picked up for him. He needs to get that to be able to use that Void Seeker. Mass amounts of damage. And, you know, Kaiser as a champion, you think, is so unique in terms of how you can build her, how you can play with her. This build that she's gone, it signifies the hybrid build, the AD hybrid build with bits of AP. You go Nash's into death cap. As a whole, I'm not a big fan of that build. In this situation, you kind of need to be the full AD damage dealer, because Doran needs to be more tanky. He needs to be a bit more frontliney. And as such, when he's not able to mega out, he's kind of susceptible to being pulled on. As Delight on the flank will not pull the trigger. Instead, Gen G giving up more and more pressure to Baron. Timing out in 30 seconds. Delight forced to stop his recall thanks to Shun. And this tier 2 on the top side will fall. The LPL second seed continuing to apply pressure on the map. TP forced out. 2 TPs coming through. Chovy joining up with the team, but he is knocked up into the air. He's going to be hit up. Bin flamethrowering him down. The Cataclysm on top secures the kill. Down goes Chovy, and you have to feel the base of Gen G shall be next to fall. BLG on the warpath. Your first seed, the hometown representatives being called in the base. The Shockwave fights too. The Mana Storm's great out Delight, but is it too late? Jun says yes. He is caught out, however, Bin falls. It's been quiet from the top laner of BLG, but he hasn't needed to perform. His jungler has done it all for the team, and in the end, BLG peel away, but they find the Nexus Tower number 1, and they're on their march, their siege to end Game 5 in an LPL victory. All I need to say is, Shun has done it all for the team. It sets up Bin to just flamethrower through Chovy's health bar. The Cataclysm, the creme de la creme with the equalizer alongside it, secures the kill onto the mid laner. And then you look at the wave clear that Gen G have, it's minuscule. They're not a team built to kill waves. Delight kind of felt forced to pull the trigger here, and that's understandable, as Shun just uses the Gore Drinker perfectly to keep himself alive, tank up the tower, and then here it's just Pays. If he fell there, that would have been the game. And look at Gen G. Sheer panic on their faces. They know the game is on a thread. They know their world is turning out to be like every single other time they've been here. Their international presence, while it's always a first seed, it always ends in the quarterfinals, it seems, as now a victory march of sorts for BLG going towards this Baron. 30 seconds until that. Gen G need to make a stand. Look at their inventory. It's not much. They've got no safety. There's one stopwatch that's unused, and that's on Peanut. The one guy you need to pop off around the Baron Pit. Need to smite steal it. He may not even get the opportunity, as he's just trying to steal away camps. Shundo is here. He's going straight to this objective. Gen G, where are you? They're nowhere near. they are going to see that Shun isn't on the objective. In fact, none of BLG are on the Baron. But Delight is caught. The equalizer dropped on his head. He is burnt to a crisp as Pays. He's coming in. The Killer Instinct going to secure the kill onto the center. But the Cataclysm, Shun, shuts down the ADC. Gen G are falling in their own jungle. BLG, they found all the damage. They found Gen G. And honestly, they could look to push to end here. But they're playing it smart. They're playing it safe. They're backing away. And they possibly could catch Doran. The Abyssal Voyage through forces the leap out. Nah. Obviously very good at escaping. But it seems like we will see the Baron come through for BLG. It's formality at this point. 11 seconds on Peanut. His respawn won't be in time before the buff will be secured. And all 5 members of this squad repping the purple buff. This should be the final siege of the LPL squad. It's Delight, he's just caught out. Forced to crash down away. He can't even engage with it. The Mank Storm useless. He's immediately killed off. However, Elk oversteps in some regard and gets bursted out. But the Flag and Drag, Cataclysm, shut down. That's all you need to say here is Shun. He finds the ADC. Doesn't allow Pace to pop off. And in the end, it's BLG picking up 4 members of Gen G. And getting the Baron buff as their prize. Needless to say, we should be seeing BLG push through to end it here. Look how many souls the center is sat on. 130. 10 away from the next upgrade. And that's from literally using a cannon mini there to Q land. TP in. Chovy is on the flank, but Delight's health bar is burning down. He's forced to flash away. The Cataclysm finds 3, and that forces Gen G into action. Their turret falls in the mid lane, and Gen G are just being ran down, taken low. Yagao finds the Vi, and now BLG, they see the ticking health bars of Gen G. They want to press forward, but the wave, not in a good place. They need it to get to the Nexus Tower. They need the minions. Gen G can't cut the wave. No one is in a position to do so. There's no flank. No opportunity to get them. The W from Senna lands onto Page. A shockwave forces the play. Delight is down. The engage options are low. A nice 4-man from Nana, but he is being burnt down. Bin is not having it. He's killed off under his own tower. And now the base of Gen G falls. The equalizer, it does work as BLG slay Gen G once again. Like it or not, it always ends the same for the Korean representatives. Defeated in quarterfinals once more. Last year, it was DRX. This year, it's BLG that's been their bane. And now, the LPL squad advances to semis, and spoiler alert, they're off against Weibo, so we're guaranteed an LPL rep in the final. That's kind of demoralizing for the LCK first seed, losing in such a fashion. You can see it means a lot to their coaches, the fact that they've underperformed in some regards, touted as a team to win it all. But in the end, quarters is all they can make, all they can muster. It's disappointing. And as such, you kind of have to feel that when we see the next series, T1, the only LCK rep left, they need to pop off. They need to literally be the home hosts. Hope. Last time T1 were on home soil, I remember a Faker crying in a booth, the dynasty of SKT falling. And that was when the LPL dominance began. And here, the return to the LCK, the return to Korea for a World Championship. And we're starting to see a similar story, a similar fate maybe, for all of the LCK teams. But that's going to end it tonight. Tomorrow, it'll be an earlier stream. We'll be breaking down, I believe, T1. I hope it's T1. If it's not, who is it? I'm checking. It is JDG KT. KT, the other LCK representatives. I'm going into probably a 3-0 against them. But, hey. We'll break that series down when it happens. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. I hope you have enjoyed this fun best of 5. I loved this series, personally. It was close until the end. But big up my man Shun. He didn't perform too well in Game 5, but he didn't have to. He bursted out, targeted the right people, and sure, he fell. Big whoop. He still picked up the targets and got the kills set up. The KP is all that matters. And this series, I've got to give Shun a player of the series. Simple as that. So with that, thank you very much for joining me today. See you guys tomorrow.